shush all this. Let's see. I do like a poke bowl. It's like a deconstructed sushi. So fresh things I really like, but also pizza is a winner. Well, I grew up in the Midwest, so I like all the seasons. And there's something nice about every few months, there's like a completely different feel, either being outside or even how the inside feels during the different seasons. One thing I will mention is that I lived in Indonesia for a while, and living just north of the equator, there's like no seasons. So it really messes with your internal clock. Holidays sneak up on you. Christmas will be like 3-4 days away, and it's still like 90 degrees and 90% humidity. And you're like, what? This doesn't feel like Christmas at all. But I like both. I like the changing of the seasons. So I like to run. I like to be outside, and my favorite like relaxing hobby right now is I'm getting back into reading. I grew up playing this PC game called MechWarrior. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with it, but I'm getting back into the tabletop game of BattleTech with my son. And in that, there's a tremendous amount of backstory and lore, and so I'm getting into the BattleTech novels. Yeah, so my favorite quote is probably most famous, made by the Ben Stiller film. I'm forgetting the name of it now, but The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. And the quote from that movie is the Life magazine motto. And that quote is to see the world, things dangerous to come to see behind walls, to draw close and to find each other and to feel, that is the purpose of life. And the reason that I like that so much is I don't know why Life magazine picked that grouping of words to be their motto, but there is something about seeing beyond what we know, seeing the world, to move close to things that we feel are initially dangerous, to see behind walls, to draw closer to each other and to feel things. That I have found can be a deep motivating purpose in life to experience it to its fullest. This is going to sound a little selfish, but there's this concept in therapy and psychology called parallel process. And that's where the therapist is also experiencing some growth, um, uh, some sort of new experience with every single client. So even though the client is coming in to do their work, I'm also in process of doing my own work at the same time. It's a parallel process. So I do get something out of being adjacent to other people's challenges. Not that I always have the right answer or something helpful to offer, but to be in the same room with somebody and to talk through what it is that they're going through, that I feel an expansiveness with that, in addition to sometimes feeling a little confused or scared or a little lost. But it's that parallel process that we're kind of both in it, that I really, really like about being a therapist.
If you couldn't be a therapist or
firefighter, sorry, ask your question again. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you would do?
Yes. Yeah. I've been lucky enough, blessed enough, privileged enough to do some pretty interesting things with my life. My previous career was in humanitarian aviation, and that was just a wild ride of an experience. And now I get to do this really cool thing and work with people through their challenges. But if I could pick something to do, I would definitely be a firefighter. I'm a massive dork when the fire truck rolls by and the light's going. I wave every time. Yeah, yeah. And when I see a fire truck behind me, I'm like the first person to pull over. I'm like, watch out, everybody. The men are going to work and women.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would definitely be a firefighter. And I've got enough time left in my life that perhaps that is something that I will do someday. I would say whatever little bit of curiosity you're feeling about that, whatever sort of courage you're feeling about that, whatever sort of confidence you have in yourself to explore something that might be helpful. That's what that that is what you should follow. I think even though you are or they are feeling some nervousness about it or some confusion or apprehension or maybe some fear, anxiety, we feel a number of things all at the same time. So in addition to that nervousness, there is probably some curiosity, there's some courage. And that is the thing I think is to be followed into maybe making a phone call or searching a couple of websites or doing some exploration on your own about, what self-help books are out there for yourself or so on and so forth. I think it's the most important thing. Because there are over 400 different modalities of therapy. There's all sorts of different tools that can be used to understand and help mental health challenges. And then there's all sorts of different types of therapists in their personalities and their experience and their approach to therapy. So there's, I'm not going to say unending, but there are so many different combinations of modalities, therapists, their experience, how they go about it, that the fit is just so, so, so important, that I would say that it's like kind of the most important thing. So the two ways that I'm thinking through when I'm sitting across from a client, trying to match the right therapy for them, is first of all, I may have a tool that is helpful for them. I may have a modality that is helpful for them, and if I have something in my toolbox that will connect with them, then okay, it's more of like a general approach. That can be a good way forward with that. But the other way to do it is to be very specialized. And that is where the clinician, in a sense, is sort of fishing for the right client so that that goodness of fit is like spot on. And a clinician who is specialized, they are able to do really good work because they're working with a particular type of client. They're working in a modality that they're highly trained in. They're getting a lot of satisfaction out of the work they're doing. The client hopefully is feeling like they're experiencing some growth and getting some satisfaction out of that. So, yeah, those are just kind of the two ways that I think about that goodness of fit, or how do I adjust my therapy for that particular client. Hi, I'm Peter Neal, and I'm the clinical director at Neal Psychological Specialties. I studied at Roosevelt University in downtown Chicago and finished my master's degree there. I interned at a hospital in downtown Chicago, but now I'm working in the northwest suburbs at Neal Psychological Specialties. The particular modality that I'm trained in is called Internal Family Systems, or IFS. I have my level 1 certification, and it's the primary modality that I use when working with trauma. It's not for everybody, but it's a modality that has made a big difference in my life, and for the clients that it is a good fit for, it's my favorite thing to do. So if we do ever have a meet and greet and you want to talk about trauma work, internal family systems is something that I would be glad to talk with you about. Hi, I'm Peter Neal, and I'm the clinical director at Neal Psychological Specialties. I studied at Roosevelt University in downtown Chicago and finished my master's degree there. I interned at a hospital in downtown Chicago, but now I'm working in the northwest suburbs at Neal Psychological Specialties. The particular modality that I'm trained in is called Internal Family Systems, or IFS. I have my level 1 certification, and it's the primary modality that I use when working with trauma. It's not for everybody, but it's a modality that has made a big difference in my life, and for the clients that it is a good fit for, it's my favorite thing to do. So if we do ever have a meet and greet and you want to talk about trauma work, internal family systems is something that I would be glad to talk with you about.